Sorry you had to hang out, Ryan.
Oh, no worry. Whatever, man. Like I was telling them, I don't hate you guys, so it's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice you just heard is the man who is going to win this season of America's Got Talent. Hashtag Club Nub. He's been a comedian only for a couple weeks. That's all it's been. And he's gone straight to the top.
For summer vacation, I decided to stand up and
pick up a hobby. A hilarious individual. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Niemiller.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Ryan, on Tuesday, America's Got Talent. Got a chance to display your work once again, much to the chagrin of not only the judges, the people in the audience, but everybody watching at home. You are America's sweetheart, Ryan. How does that feel?
It's pretty nice. I was all over that damn episode.
Yeah, America's Got Ryan Niemiller.
Yeah, that was a lot of me.
It was all you.
I did not expect that. It was very cool. Like, it's still kind of like we talked about last time I was here. It's stressful because you don't know what it's going to look like until it airs. Like
editing wise?
Yeah, that was the first time I saw all that, like how it actually was going to be presented. So
wow, so you were nervous when it was going.
Oh, absolutely. I was terrified.
So because Ryan Niemiller visited us a few weeks ago, and he lied right to our faces, said he didn't know what was going to happen.
Oh, I knew exactly what happened.
He lied to us, but
I don't hate you guys, but I don't like you enough to not lie to you. That's what I'm saying.
We get it, non-disclosures, whatever. We'll take everything you've ever had. Yeah, I get it. Did they make you sign one of those?
Oh, absolutely.
And what was in it? What if you did tell us? What would they take? Like
pretty much, they would take the rest of my fingers, which is real. And I can't chance that. I can't chance that. All right, it's too risky.
For those listening at home who might not know, can you explain why that joke is so hilarious?
I'm a human lobster. That's about it. That's kind of explains it. From the elbow down, it's a nightmare. Basically, is what's happening. But yeah, I don't have all my digits.
And this is you were born this way.
Yes.
It was it's a physical disability that you have that you've worked into a beautiful way to not only thrive but dominate in this world that you live in when others might not be able to do it. So I think you are, and I think I like that America's Got Talent kind of understands this too. Not only are you one of the funniest humans I've ever heard in my entire life, you're also representing something that isn't represented a lot. And I think that is a fucking awesome thing for you. Do you feel like that type of pressure now that you're you're definitely somebody that little kids are looking up to right now for sure?
Oh, absolutely. Like there's pressure to it, but it's what I wanted to do when I did this. Like I don't want to have to be, like I wish I didn't have to be that kind of like role model or that kind of spokesman, but they won't let anyone else do it. so I might as well. I think we talked a little bit last time too about like when I was growing up, there was Jim Abbott. That was the closest thing. It was Jim Abbott, and there was no one else that had anything even close to what I did. So like, I didn't know what I could do, like especially when you're young, you look at people that are kind of like you and you're like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it.
Right.
And there was no one really that was if he can do it for me.
That's hope, right?
Yeah.
When you're a kid and you see somebody either make it from your hometown or from your area, or you can connect with somebody on television who's made it, or maybe you have a run-in with a lawyer or a doctor, you meet them and you're like, oh, you know what? I think I'm like that person. If he can do it, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. And for somebody who's physically disabled, there's not a lot of that on television. So there's not a lot of like, oh, I can make it in showbiz, which is one of the most scrutinized businesses in history.
I mean, if you have a weird eyebrow, you're screwed. in entertainment, so let alone.
Did stand-up comedy, was that something you knew you were going to be forever? Like,
I honestly, it was pro wrestling was what it was going to be.
Let's go.
Really, when I was really young, that's where the cripple threat came from. That's where all that was. That was going to be the wrestling. That was always the dream. And my body just couldn't take the training. It was.
What about commentating?
Commentating, I mean, in hindsight, yeah. But at the time, I was like, I wanted to be a wrestler. Like, when you're 16, you don't want to be a commentator. Right. In most
I told Michael Cole that right to his face. Michael Cole was like, I've heard you've been interested in getting into the business with WWE. And I was like, yeah, I get like in the ring, like with the big intro and like the music and like the the microphone in the arena. Never really thought about, sitting on the side there where nobody hears you or likes you. Never really thought.
At best, they nothing you. Oh my God. That's the best you can hope for.
And Cole started rattling off all the positives to being a commentator, and I was like, I was wrong, obviously. Michael Cole, I was completely wrong. You're right. Commentating is a great fucking gig in the WWE.
Oh, yeah. One of my best friends in the world, Johnny LaQuasto, he just got signed by NXT a few months ago, and he's a commentator down there, and he loves it.
Yeah, it's
Because he's an
awesome.
old stand-up comic, too, and he loves comedy, but, he's like, yeah, this is awesome. I get to sleep in my own bed, and I still get to perform.
Yeah, and you're hosting the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, Michael Cole is the host of Monday Night Raw. He's the host. Him, Corey, and Renee, they just carry 3 hours of television, basically. Yep. And whenever you start looking at it that way, you're like, oh, you know what? I think I would like that, actually. Yeah, Pat McAfee hosting Monday Night Raw. Yeah, I'd love that.
3 hours of guaranteed TV time, and
exactly.
That's got to suck.
That had to be tough for him at first, though, because he replaced JR, who everybody loved. And I remember when Cole first came in, he was not universally liked.
And I think he still carries that chip on his shoulder that everybody hates him, by the way. Because I'll literally walk in public with him somewhere before an event, and they're like, Mr. Cole, an autograph, please? And he just keeps his head down and walk. I'm like, Mike, why don't you fucking sign for that kid? Like, he's going to kill him. He's like, he probably said something fucking terrible about me on the internet. And I was like,
He's like, I found that guy's tweet. I don't trust
I was
him.
like, no, Michael Cole. I think you're much more liked than you think. He's like, is that right, Pat? That's what he says to me. And then he's like, you want to look at my mentions? I'm like, and I was like, no, I'm not going to dig into that too much, but I can understand because he's basically an extension of the company, right? He is the company, basically. He's speaking for the company. He's the voice of the WWE. And on SmackDown on Tuesday night, he got a chance to do color. So he not color. He got to do color instead of play-by-play. Okay. Tom Phillips was doing play-by-play. He did color. So he got to just be like a smartass. Like he got to be like a little bit looser smartass. And I searched his name on Twitter, and it was all like, hey, Michael, am I mistaken, or is Michael Cole very entertaining right now?
Yep.
There was like 6-7 tweets like that, so I screenshotted it, sent it to him. I'm like, look, man, start taking pictures of little fucking kids.
When he just gets to be him, because there's been a couple of the events, I remember the Tokyo WWE event, where it was kind of a lot looser. He was great. He's a charismatic, funny guy.
I want to say this after meeting him. Good guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now, granted, I should have expected the story I told about the WrestleMania where he almost kicked me off the show for having shorts. Like, if people know actual Michael Cole, that's funny to hear. But to the fans that don't know actual Michael Cole, they're like, oh, what a fucking asshole. That's how it went.
You should have wore only shorts.
Yeah, exactly.
That guy.
Exactly. That's why everybody was like, oh, you should fight Michael Cole or whatever. I'm like, I don't think you get who Michael Cole is. Like, this dude is an awesome individual. But with that being, you started stand-up comedy at what age?
I was 24 when I officially started.
Oh, what was the job before that? What do we do?
I was finishing up my theater degree from Indiana State.
So 6 years?
Yeah, well, 5 years of school, 1 year of not being at school in the middle of that.
Got a master's in theater. All right.
Right.
So you start stand-up, and how'd it go immediately?
Way better than it should have. That is one good thing about having a disability. It's unique enough that people will at least give it a shot, at least initially.
Icebreaker.
Exactly. They'll be like, oh, at least this is different. And when you're only doing like a 5 to 7 minute set at the most for your first couple years, they don't have a time to like judge you.
And it's a shitty little show, like one of those places that even though comedy was there that night or whatever, and it's going to be 10 of us going up.
Laundromat.
Yeah, when they look at me,
clink, clink,
yeah, they look at me and they're like, "Well, he's fucking interrupting the Pacers game right now," so they're pissed, and then they look at you like, "We have to pay attention."
Wait a minute.
What is happening here?
I am not going to be a bad person. I got to listen to what he has to say.
I think they're fake.
And then by the time they could get,
if we were sitting at a bar, just me and my boys, and you got up there, we are all so like pessimistic about everything. We'd be like, it's fucking fake.
Yeah,
his arms are in his sleeve.
Yeah. He's the best magician we've ever seen. That's all there is to it.
But we would listen though. But it would stop. It would stun all of us, right? We'd stop and listen. And Todd used to say this to me about big name people that do stand up comedy, right? Because I always, which is true, I defer. And a lot of comedians said this about me too. Like, because I was the punter for the Colts, that's why my stand up shows are selling, right? And Todd knew that got to me, right? When people were saying this. And Todd's like, yeah, but how many shows does that account for, Pat. You know, you can't be 20-some deep and people are still buying tickets because you punted for the Colts. He would always like try to make me feel that way.
Yeah, it's true. Like they would come the first time.
Yeah, that lets them show up,
but they wouldn't come the second time.
The first time they'll be like, "Oh, let's see what the novelty of."
Well, and that's what I'm thinking about.
McAfee is,
and that's what I'm thinking about for you too, right? You get their attention, like you would get our attention, and you would have probably 2 minutes. We'd be like, "All right, let's give this guy our attention." Then once you have it, you have to keep it, and the ability to do that, which you have done here for decades now, is fucking awesome. And I think the fact that you're getting on America's Got Talent, and America's Got Talent is pushing you too, right? It has to feel good instead of being pushed away by the same company, even all like the same business you've always tried to make. Seems like they're pushing you now. You enjoying that?
Oh, it's kind of the opposite of what my general experience in comedy has been.
That's what I'm saying.
It's been so much of me, you know, clawing and scratching and, you know, just trying to get someone to get behind me. And then for such a gigantic show to get as behind me. I mean, I got to bring it. Like I had to do my part. They didn't pick me out of a hat.
Hell yeah.
Go like, he's our chosen cripple. He's the one.
But it is because it's about to happen to us. Right. Yeah. So I've always been in the same position you are, with a little bit more on the internet. No main, any like characters really gave us a push. But now this upcoming fall, we're about to get a hell of a push. And it's like, okay, now
you and me both.
Now that you have, but now that you have the push, like the confidence to know that you can deliver is a cool one. And without all those years on the road, I'm not sure you have that confidence that you're going to show.
Yeah. And that's the great part of it too, where as much as those, you know, I'm almost 13 years in, as much as those, you know, last 12 years have kind of sucked, it's hard. The road is not fun most of the time. It's pretty terrible, actually, a lot of time. But just to know that, like, had I gotten this opportunity, you know, 8 years ago, I would have crashed and burned because I wasn't as good as performer at the time, wasn't mature enough to be on the road or like and have these kind of like expectations of you.
Yep.
Because, you know, people are coming to see me on purpose now. That's weird. You know, when you have, you know, 12 years of just being like a happy accident. Like if someone comes to a show and they're like, "Oh, that guy was great. I should have listened to his name. I'll never find him again."
A lot of those people, when they saw you on America's Got Talent, they're like, "Honey, it's the fucking guy."
I told you, it was the weirdo. It was it was the lobster man. I told you, we found him. So now for having people come on purpose and still having that and know that I can handle.
It has to feel good to know that you're ready though. Like, because for instance, because that's a real conversation you have to have with yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Like, am I ready for what's about to happen? And I don't know if the rest of the boys have, but our fall is about to be gigantic. And there was a cool moment where I was like, yeah, but I'm ready for it. Like, I feel like I'm in a position now where I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
where
you're still anxious. You're still nervous about it. You still have that little bit like, oh, this is going to be, but like, yeah, this is what I've been doing.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like when I got on the America's Got Talent stage, like when I got out there, it's just a show at that point.
Yep.
It's a big opportunity, but like as far as the performance, I've done that thousands of times.
Been here, done this.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a cool feeling.
I know I can deliver that.
A comedian's never won America's Got Talent before.
Nope.
Runner
up, I think 3 times.
Yeah, and you shy away from it, but I think you're going to win.
So he doesn't want to say it because he don't want to jinx himself.
Yeah,
I think everybody in this room thinks, and as somebody that watches that show, normally you can tell who's going to go. You're getting a cool push right now.
Yeah.
It's a cool push.
I've never seen someone featured that much in one episode before. It was like literally like every, 7 minutes they were like, hey, wait, where's the Ryan cam? Where's the Ryan Niemiller camera?
Yeah, even my mom, who I was watching with, she was like, Jesus Christ, Ryan. And she's like the most supportive mother on the planet.
For those that didn't watch, it's a 2-hour show, but they always do these behind the scenes shots and clips and stuff, and they feature, normally it's a all the people they think are going to probably move on, and normally it's a rotating shot. This time Ryan got a lot of love, and it was like, it's not normal because they're trying to introduce you to everybody before the thing even starts. They're trying to get the crowd to be like, oh, we like this guy a lot. He's cool backstage. He's great on. And then your story was shared a little bit too, which I didn't know that your dad and you shared a love of stand-up comedy.
Yeah, that was that and the Cubs. Those were the 2 things that, let's go.
And he obviously has passed away, yes. But you made a comment that like, I think my dad would have enjoyed seeing me on TV. Like, I almost started crying whenever I was like, man, that's fucking awesome. Yeah. Like, everybody on earth is like, this is the guy.
Yeah, and that was like, because my dad and I weren't close really. Like, by the he just like I kind of explain it like I loved my dad, but I didn't like him very much. You
Makes
know,
sense, yep.
like you don't. I wish it had gone differently, but I mean, alcohol is a real bitch. You know, like once it gets you, it's not. That's just what it is sometimes. And
True.
But that was a thing. Like I always remember, like growing up, like those were like, you know, Cubs games were always great. Anything sports was usually awesome. And then just like stand up, my dad would let me stay up late, you know, to watch like, you know, Robin Williams, and he loved Gallagher, and you know, and things like that.
Yeah.
So getting to stay up and watch, you know, those specials, and it was like a cool time where it's like, oh, this is fun, Dad. This is kind of how it's supposed to be. And so then I kind of learned a little bit like the power of like, you know, comedy and things like that.
Hell yeah.
Like everyone likes to laugh. Like it's pretty universal.
Right.
That
So
people enjoy that.
The thought that you two shared that, right? So maybe not all great times, but the things that you did enjoy or your positive memories of your dad, then getting a chance to do that inside, that has to be quite a fulfilling feeling, honestly, because it's probably, I mean, what do you chase stand-up comedy for 12 years? This is it, right? This is what you're chasing for 13 years.
I didn't want to half-ass this, you know, when I did it. Like I don't have the time and the brain space to like not go full out on what I'm trying to do. And I mean, that's been a lot of my career has been trying to, I have a huge chip on my shoulder, you know,
Hell
just
yeah.
proving people wrong. You know, the amount of times that, like, I get a little guff. It's been mostly positive, and we talked about this before, but you know, people are like, oh, all he talks about is his disability. Well, that's my life, dummy. Like that's you
Hey,
know,
man.
like if I have to deal with all the negative parts of it, like I'm gonna put this as much in your face as possible. I'm gonna turn this into something. If you're gonna doubt me, you're gonna immediately downplay me all the time because of it. Well, here we go.
That person, though, has no idea about anything comedy related, because comedy related is a personal thing. It's either your perspective on things, right? Like, oh, this is my perspective on something that everybody sees. This is my life story. It'd be impossible for you to do comedy without talking about having to
Absolutely.
deal with that.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk about it forever. I don't want it to be the only thing I do.
How about that beard? We should start talking about that beard.
Beard is luxurious.
You got a good beard going right now.
My beard and hair game was on point last night on AGT for sure. I looked good. I look good.
Will they have a fashion person or a stylist for you?
For the live shows, yeah, they clean you up.
I can't wait.
They clean you up.
I cannot wait to see what you end up looking like.
I think I'm going to try to get one of Terry Cruz's suits. I'm going to see if I can get that.
No shirt underneath?
Oh, just flexing the pecs.
Damn, I can't.
He was
wait.
telling me out there they have like a whole set coordinator for you, so he like kind of gets to pick his set and stuff like that.
Yeah, they let you kind of be a little more you, which is
Really?
nice. Yeah, they let you kind of.
What are you going to do? Are you going to set up like
I don't know yet. I don't know. Part of it is no spoilers kind of thing, but part of it, like I'm still figuring it out. I want to.
I got
It's a
suggestion
big
for you.
chance.
Your shadow puppet thing. You do the shadow puppets in
I
the
did a
background.
shadow. Okay.
Put those up there.
All right, hold on. You do shadow puppet? That is hilarious.
I do one. It's a it's a dinosaur. Maybe a goose or a swan if you're fancy. But if you're fancy about it.
It's an incredible opener.
Exactly. If you're
No, I think that's the
boy.
closer.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, to wrap,
I mean, the shadow art acts are cool. So if I went out there and just started doing it, and it was just all a dinosaur the entire time.
what are they're called the shadow something.
Verba shadow.
So do you get to meet all these people?
Yeah. For that round especially, like you are with those people all day, every day.
Somebody loved that shadow one more than I did. And I think it's because I've watched AGT so much. I've seen so many incredibly talented individuals that I've gotten like, I don't want to say numb to it, but it is like I've gotten numb to the incredibly talented people that I didn't even know existed a couple years ago. And then you watch it and you're like, not as good as the Jabberwockies. You know, it's like hard to do that. It's hard not to compare.
Oh, like for me, it was super fun because like when you're on the road doing comedy, you don't get to see this stuff.
Oh,
Like
nobody gets to see this stuff.
I don't get to see dancers, and I've never been to a magic show.
I only see it once a
You
year
know?
when AGT comes
Exactly.
in.
Exactly.
So for me, getting to actually like be there, and like plus they're my friends now, you know. So getting to watch your friends do something cool that you can't is amazing.
Less than 1% of people on Earth can do what some of those people do.
Did you see the dude that was, he had the chair and then he curled his legs around the back of the chair. So now his shoulders are on the ground. He's over the back of the chair. Held his wife up with both hands. She's standing, one foot in each of his hands. Did a fucking setup so he's planked now in the chair, and then goes to a full standing position with her.
On top of the chair?
Yes.
Yeah, these humans.
Fucking incredible.
I was going to close with that, but they cut it. They went on before me, and I was like, well, now what do I do?
Is there any, because granted, you said you didn't know the editing. Was there any like showbiz, like were they trying to spin anything in the back, or do they ask you questions like prod things out of you or anything like
I
that?
don't know how much of that I can talk about. It's
Great
not
question,
that.
Pat. Write that down.
I will say they let me be genuine.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I can't speak for anyone else. Everything I said and did was as genuine as I could possibly do, given the circumstances of you're on a major television show.
Like, hey, we're trying to entertain you.
Yes. So no one's exactly, 100% themselves. It's impossible when a camera's on. But
I think now
You
that
gotta
we
entertain.
we live in a much more woke society. I think we very much understand that is how things go now, right? Like, hey, we understand that is they're not sitting up on this platform with perfect lighting on them with a microphone in between them, just casually. I think the world knows now that there's something.
Yeah, I will tell you, for me though, like all those interactions were as real as could possibly get though, because they're your buddies, and I'm like, one of the things I was really glad about is they got to show me being friends with my friends on that show. It wasn't me like being like, oh, I hate this guy. He's my comp. They just let me be buddies with my buddies.
That's
like
awesome.
I was texting with some of the contestants on my episode last night during the episode.
How do you feel
'Cause
about the
we're
judges?
friends.
How do you feel about the judges?
Don't try to get me in trouble.
I thought D-Wade was incredible.
Oh yeah.
He was very
He's
fucking
taking
funny.
notes, bro.
Yeah.
He was writing
He's
things
so
down.
good.
I was like, okay, Dwayne.
Yeah. One thing.
So funny.
When I found out that he was going to be the guest judge, I just kind of shrugged. You don't know.
Yeah.
Like the other guest judges, like last week it was Brad Paisley. You can have a pretty good idea of
How
probably
does
what he knows.
get on TV?
But at least if you hear Brad Paisley, you're like, okay, he probably knows a lot about music, so he's going to look at the singers. And,
He
all
shouldn't
that.
be on TV though. Like I like Brad Paisley's music. He's a West Virginia guy too, so I like him even more. Every time he's on TV,
Hard
though,
Knocks.
It was so bad.
Hard
Knocks
Knocks.
was so bad.
Every interview he does, it's always just like I don't know if it's him or the way it's edited, but it's never great for the Brad Paisley.
Peyton carries him in the commercials.
Oh, those commercials are pretty good though. I mean,
Carries
maybe,
them.
bad.
maybe I should take it back. Maybe I should take it back. Maybe I should.
Yeah, but Peyton
Hard
carries him.
Knocks was tough.
Do they talk to you backstage? Any of the judges? They try to keep you separated.
You are completely separated from
Jeopardy
them.
James said he wasn't even allowed to talk to Trebek.
Yep, we're not. The only times I've talked to any of them outside of Terry Crews, because you do a little bit more with him because you're doing interviews, is on stage. So what you saw on television is my interaction with the judges.
They don't want to make it look like they have favorites or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the competition is very real. There is an actual cash prize involved with this.
Yeah.
So there's no, you're not fraternizing with any of the judges or anything. They keep you far away.
A lot of money. I mean,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
if you're in top 5, you're going to make money for a long time.
Yeah,
That's
you're doing all right.
It's like John Dorenbos. He didn't win. I don't think he was top 5 or top 3, and getting on that big of a stage, it opens so many eyes to your talent. I'm so excited for you to hit the corporate circuit at some point. If you add like just a little tiny bit of motivation into your comedy, you'll be getting booked for these corporate events that we went and saw Dorenbos down here at the convention center. We watched. He had like 7,000 people that were there for a convention, and he was motivating them with his magic. It's just like that stage opens so many awesome doors, and it's going to be great to watch you thrive.
I've already been hit up by a few.
Let's go.
Kind of like disability awareness and like advocacy groups and things like that. So I'm working on it. Like it's gonna be fine because I can just be a genuine guy who's not afraid to talk about his life. But my comedy has never been about motivating, like on purpose. You know, like I didn't start this to be an inspiration.
Yeah,
That stuff drives me insane.
yeah. I don't think you should
'Cause-
turn into like
Yeah.
what's his name?
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
Oh, yeah.
But if you just add like one, and that's why you can be anything you want to be. You can go ahead and put stand-up comedian, motivational
Yeah,
speaker.
it's funny that you would mention that exact line because that used to, even as like a child, like 5 years old, that was an immediate red flag of nonsense every time I heard that. Because like you have to be self-aware. Like I don't think you can be anything you want to be. I'm never gonna pitch in the majors, everybody. That ship sailed.
Oh, not with that mindset.
Yeah, that's how people treat it. Like they always did. Like, well, Jim Abbott did. Yeah, well, he wasn't like he didn't win a raffle.
Yeah, he also had one arm. To throw with.
Exactly. Good. But like I always you should just figure out what you're good at.
Right.
Fail at some stuff and then figure out what you're good at. You're good at something, but you can't be anything.
I know you played football.
Yes.
You didn't play baseball.
I did for a few years, really young.
Okay, so what are some things that you've tried that you're bad at, and what are some things that you've tried you're like better at this than I thought I was going to be?
So baseball, I was really, really good as far as like an 8-year-old can be really, really good at baseball.
Okay.
Kind of physical limitations sort of caught up at me as everyone else got, throwing faster and stronger. I just wasn't going to throw faster enough to, I just couldn't keep up eventually.
Got it.
I played basketball for a year. I was terrible. I'm surprisingly bad at soccer. That's one. That's one that has been. I'm really good at video games. That's something I probably shouldn't be good at, but I am.
Like surprise, like you went into it expecting not to be great, and then
I've never went into anything expecting to suck at it.
Okay,
I just have enough self-awareness to know that if I do suck, it's fine because there's other things I'll be good at.
I gave it a go, Ryan. You gave it a good go.
Exactly.
This just isn't for you.
Yeah. I wish a lot of people in comedy would realize that at some point. You gave it a good go.
Hey, right. That's all right. I want to talk about that for a second.
Sure.
Pat and I talk about this all the time. So, what keeps some people going?
Yeah.
And I'm not being mean. I'm not mentioning anyone specifically, but we've all seen them everywhere. 12, 15 years in, never really get any kind of sizable laugh. What keeps that person going?
I think part of it is just having if it's always been your dream, it's hard to let go of. And I think with something like stand-up specifically, if your dream was to be in the NFL, there's a very clear point where that's not going to happen,
Right.
Or that it hasn't happened.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
Like if you get to be 37, 38 and you've never, got there, you're like, okay, well, I'm not talented enough.
Oh, there's the XF.
But with comedy, you can, anyone can literally do that today.
Yeah.
Any person
Sign up
listening
for
to
an
this
open
right
mic.
now can just go, hey,
can go.
and now I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
So you can be physically doing the thing you're terrible at.
And
So
say you're that. Yeah.
But if you want to be in the NFL, you're not. They don't let you come and open mic at training camp. And
get some pros in.
Yeah, just really grind it out with the pros and everything. They don't do. But with comedy, when I was just starting and I had no business there, I did a show with Robin Williams 6 months into comedy.
Yeah.
You can accidentally fall into situations where you think you're killing it more or things are going well. And if you don't have strong self-awareness, it's hard to fight against that.
I get it, but you had aptitude, right? So there's a difference. I have a theory that there's two different theories. One is if you never really competed ever in your life, you don't really know what success feels like. You don't know that if 3 out of 40 people laugh, that's not good.
This has been
you
deep
didn't
conversations.
crush.
We've had these conversations.
We've had these in depth, and then also, I've seen that comedian that gets off stage. He's like, I felt pretty good about that, and I'm like, what gave you that idea? How are you not hearing what everybody else is hearing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they have the ability to just zone that out, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not as strict on stuff like that too, because I also, even though I would settle for nothing less than making it as big as humanly possible, this can also just be a fun hobby. So even if you're terrible,
I can appreciate that.
I know people who are terrible at knitting.
Yeah.
Who still love to try to knit because
but their knitting
therapeutic.
But their knitting isn't ruining 150 people's night.
Maybe their hobby is just making people miserable, and that is a way to do it in bulk quickly.
And I've seen that person too. They're a regular at the open mics, but that person knows they're not doing well. They just enjoy the camaraderie.
Yeah, they like hanging out
yeah.
with the comics. You know,
And it's like
It's
a
a
bucket
weird
list thing. They they do for it. There are some comedians though where I watch and I'm like, man, if I would have done that in any of my shows, I would have never got on stage again. If I would have heard the only like 2 people laughed through the whole thing that I obviously brought. I would never get on a stage again. And that's how weak I am. That's why that's how weak I am.
Yeah, I mean, 12, 15 years in, Ryan.
Yeah. I mean,
they've never had any level of success in one single show.
Yeah, it's impressive.
The persistence is unbelievable. But no,
bleep
and this
12
isn't
to
even
15.
specific because this is probably literally 40% of stand-up comedy at every local scene.
Oh, you're going to
40%.
become instantly an OG face of stand-up comedy, by the way. Yeah, you're going to become like an instantly. Because you look at the big name comedians, you look at Rogan, Dave Chappelle, obviously, Kevin Hart, Jerry Seinfeld, of course. You go through this list of OG comedians, Jeff Foxworthy, Ron White, you do the Blue Collar Comedy Tour people. These people that are notable comedians, people that have made it into a lot of people's eyeballs as stand-up comedians, you immediately, to the other stand-up comedians, become like the OG, like they're the old face of comedy. Are you excited to kind of be a mentor almost to some people?
Yeah, it's cool.
Will you do that? Because in the NFL, starting quarterback, a younger quarterback gets drafted, his eventual successor, and not somebody should go lock that. No, you're good. Not every starting quarterback is willing to help the younger one, teach them, right? It came out Ben Roethlisberger was not teaching the younger quarterback. They try to talk bad about him, but if you think about it from a business sake, it's like, why would Roethlisberger give away all these secrets that it took him like 45 surgeries to learn? So,
hey, what can I do to help you replace me? Anything you need, I'll be glad.
But in comedy, I feel like those older guys take a lot of pride in like helping the younger comedians. Is that something that you're ready for and prepared for and excited for?
Yes, and mostly because when I started, people reached out to me and did that when they really didn't have to.
It's awesome.
I think it's a good chunk of it is just who helped you when you started, like kind of how you came up. It's that, nature versus nurture kind of argument. Like if you were nurtured well in comedy and then you don't pay it forward, you're a dick.
Todd said this about cops. Todd said this about cops. Like the veteran cops have to teach the young cops how to act, because if not, they'll just turn into.
Yeah, if you're an older cop, the same way in comedy, same way in the NFL or anything, and a new person comes in and there's no desire in you to, if you're just like, oh fuck them, they'll figure it out on their own. You're a piece of shit.
You know what I mean? Because they probably won't. Yeah. You develop a lot of bad habits because there's so much. And with anything, I only know comedy, but like there's so many like intricacies and nuances and unwritten rules about like etiquette and things like that you don't learn unless you either have someone that was kind enough to kind of tell you, hey, don't do that,
right?
Or you screw up, and really embarrass yourself and ruin,
The unwritten rules of places are things that, man, if you don't know them, you can really get yourself on the bad side of some PR problems. We had a couple of young football players that came in that were just like unwritten rules. Like obviously, it might not say that is Robert Mathis's parking spot, but if you see Robert Mathis's truck in that spot every single day, let's just assume that he fucking took claim of that particular parking spot.
Yeah, he's got dibs.
Yeah.
Let me make your life way easier.
Let's just assume I saw a kid's car get wrapped in saran wrap one day because he was in the spot. And we don't know who did that, obviously. I was not involved, but neither was Robert Mathis. It was everybody else took up for Robert Mathis. I don't even think Robert knew it happened. Then the kid
that's when you know you have respect.
Oh, yeah.
When you don't even know you've been slighted because people have already corrected it. That's the respect that I want.
Then it happened again, and the kid's car got shipped to Montana. They bought a fucking freight truck
from Indy,
from the parking spot to Montana. It was awesome. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
That is amazing.
I have a question along that vein. Do you feel like a sense of accomplishment in making it this far? Obviously, you want to go on and you want to win the whole competition, but just getting to this level, you're obviously seeing some bump in notoriety. You're getting booked for other shows. Do you feel that, like that sense of accomplishment?
Yes, and it's just giving me a taste for more, though. Like that's
blood in the water.
Yeah, that's the. And I think like I don't think that's unique to me, but a lot of like anyone that's in any field, like you don't just want to, like this was the goal for now, like it was the first goal was to get to this. And now that I've got this, okay, how do I make it bigger?
Nobody dreamed of being a one-hit wonder.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
would like another one of these. That'd be great.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out Billy Ray. Stuck at it for 25 years.
And he got another one.
He got another one. Yeah.
That is a hero story if there ever was one. But for me, I think it's about that self-awareness. If I get eliminated next round and I'm never on TV again, I still got to do something that no one gets to do in a big, big way.
It's not going to happen. But Yeah, we understand.
So it's not like I would be like depressed, but like I would be lying if I said I was content right now. I want to win the damn thing.
Yeah, let's go.
I don't want to.
But I think what Nick is saying is you've already won. You've already won the thing. I think that is something.
In certain aspects, yeah.
My career
in comedy
is
terms,
good
you
for a
have
while.
won.
Yeah, you've won.
I have major TV appearances, which will, in theory, lead to other TV appearances down the road. Agencies want to work with me now. Bookers who would never return
You and Terry
emails
Crews will be in the new reboot of Lethal Weapon. Fucking. All right. So, how good does it feel, man, when like bookers or clubs or whatever that were ignoring you before when you would email them now reaching out to you and then hey Ryan, we had a fallout, will you take this weekend or whatever? Are you just gouging those motherfuckers on price? Because I would be like, all right, here's twice what I think I should make and book me or not.
I'm more kind of just silently in my apartment, just going like, just have that little, because
Put it on mute.
Yeah.
Evil laugh.
I've been at the cause just like any business though, if you spent your time trying to get back at everyone that's wronged you at some point, you would get nothing else done.
Sure, but it feels good, right?
Oh
like,
yeah,
look at it now.
It is very validating to get an email response within 10 minutes of sending it, as opposed to 10 months.
Right.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think you're going to go on and win it all too. I think it's only going to get brighter and brighter ahead.
Yeah.
So thankful you came by, brother.
yeah, I'm glad that you guys allow it to happen.
New
Like you
material
guys are
on AGT? Or
some of that's been newish. Yeah, like I'm not gonna say brand new. I didn't write it for AGT, but it's been like a nice combination. I've done jokes that I wrote some version of 10 plus years ago,
a concept?
and I've done some jokes that I wrote 6 months or so.
Yeah, I was going to
not even
say,
that before.
I've probably seen you perform, 2,000 times in my lifetime,
a
and
lot.
you had stuff on there I hadn't heard.
Yeah, the drive-through, the thank you bit, that was relatively new. That's based on a true story that happened about 6 months ago.
And the little bit of improv whenever you said you were single and ladies started throwing their panties verbally.
Oh God, I was proud. As far as my set goes, I was probably most proud of that. And it was just one small little thing, but like, especially for a comedian too, it just shows how it helped me show how like diverse I am and like how multifaceted I am. It was just one small improv line, but being able to be comfortable in a moment of something unexpected happening, because like if you're doing your acrobat routine, that's kind of what it is,
Yeah.
So if someone responds in a weird way or something happens, you're still doing that lift or
Yeah, if
whatever,
you're a juggler, and so what happened with you is if you're a juggler, somebody from the crowd threw something in, the guy juggled it, threw it back, and then continued juggling the other thing.
Yeah, he just hacky sacked it back.
Yeah, that's
boom. There we
Well,
go.
and I think it's like I've never obviously been in the sports entertainment industry, but I would assume if you get your first match in the WWE, you had best already behave like a champion if you ever hope to be the champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt like you have that advantage.
Yeah, act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And
Yeah, because that shows that you're quick, and subconsciously when people hear that, that just adds another level to the like, oh yeah, this guy's a funny guy.
yeah, because I mean, ultimately with stand-up, a lot of the really, really good ones are you want to make it sound like it's the first time you've ever been saying that. Like obviously I've said those jokes hundreds upon hundreds of times. But
I don't know how you do it.
But-
I don't know how you do it. I talked about this with Brendan Schaub. I don't know how you guys. I think that is the difference between an elite stand-up comedian is the ability to do, like he's doing 6-7 sets a week telling the same exact thing. And I'm like, holy shit. I don't know how you would do it. Whenever I tell a story, it's like a celebration. Like, okay, this story is being told for humans for the first time. And then, okay, we got to do it one more night. All right. And then it's like by the third night, I'm like, I'll tell you what. about sick of this story. I have no.
I hate me.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody's laughing. And like the third night, I tell the story and people laughing. I'm like, don't fucking laugh. It's like, that wasn't funny.
Don't you placate me. How dare you?
But that ability to bring the energy and freshness and juice and deliver and patience and everything like that, that is the true talent of stand-up comedians.
I mean, because like Simon sort of hit it right on the head. Like when I'm on stage, I'm having the time of my life. Like that is where I have the most fun ever, like anywhere. So like for me, it's a privilege to get to be out there and do it. Doesn't matter what the show is. I try to work as hard for a crowd of 4 people as I would 4,000 because they showed up. They did their job. So I'm going to try to give them a show. And I'm going to have fun because no one has to like me. And no one had to be there.
I think they do, though.
Especially
after listening to this. I think America's going to like you a lot. I think you have, not that this show will help you at all. America's Got Talent is massive, and you're the highlight of the show. So I want to
Still vote.
vote.
But our people.
Yeah. Please don't assume anything.
Need to still vote. A lot of incredibly talented humans have lost talent shows because their fans get arrogant and say they don't think they need them. I think Ryan Niemiller deserves us. I think Ryan Niemiller is going to show up and perform. And I'm so thankful that you came through here again. Ladies and gentlemen, # Club Nub at Cripple Threat 8. There were 7 others. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Niemiller.
Thank you, guys.